Hey guys, we're back again this week for week 3 of our ACT prep. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us each week. Last week we started doing a Google form that we want you guys to fill out as soon as you're done on Thursdays with the ACT prep. And what we're going to do is, starting this week on Thursday, once you fill out that Google form, I will actually have a treat for you if you are one of the first 100 kids to fill it out, okay? And I will get in contact with you that exact same day, and I will let you know that you're one of the first 100 and that you can come by and get a treat from me, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We have 5 problems to get through today. So this very first one, I'm going to show you 2 ways to solve it. You can do it in your calculator in the y equals key, but I'm also going to show you just the basic math behind it, okay? So first of all, we need this middle term, 6x. Okay, so we'll need the middle term, 6x, and then we need the last term. So 6x, and then we'll need this 5. So I'm going to write those down, okay? So 6x, and then 5. So what we're looking at is actually 2 numbers that we can add together that get me 6, okay? So we're gonna add to get 6, and we're gonna multiply to get 5, okay, multiply. And what you're looking at for this is you're actually just looking at the numbers, okay? So like this is 5 and 1. So if I add those together, 5 plus 1 is 6, so that checks, right? And then 5 times 1 is 5, so that checks too. Now let's just do one more just so I can show you why it doesn't work sometimes. So let's just look at B. So 2 plus -3 is -1. Can't be my answer, okay? 2 times -3 is -6. And it does not get me my 5, okay? So all you're gonna do is look at the last 2 numbers, add them together. If they add together to get the middle term, that's a possibility. Then you're gonna multiply those same 2 numbers together to get your third term. Now, let me just give you the easy way to do this. If you go to your y equals key, okay, so y equals key, you're going to type in the equation just like it is in the y1 line, okay? I'll give you a second to do that. And then what you're gonna do is, since we know that A is the right answer, let's go ahead and let's type this one into the second line, which is the y2 line. And when you hit graph, I want you to look at what happens, okay? So Courtney, once you get those in, I want you to tell me what happened. So watch the graph color. So y1 is blue, y2 is red. What happened?
They're on the same graph.
It is the exact same graph. So you can use that method too. You just type in the equation or the expression, and then you're going to type in one answer at a time. If your original graph that's blue gets covered up completely with the red line, you found your answer, and you can check that answer and move on to your next problem, okay? All right, since we have question 18 up, let's go ahead and do it next, and then we'll scroll down and do the rest. All right, so number 18, the really cool thing is you can just type this right into your regular calculator, and it's gonna give you an answer, okay? So this is 1 over 1 minus I times 1 plus I over 1 plus I. So go ahead and let's type that into our calculator. And let me know what happens when you hit enter. Did you get an error? Mm-mm. You didn't?
Was that right?
Okay. Let's do a couple things, because I think you actually might have that entered in incorrectly, okay? So let's just check our mode button. Normally what would happen, you guys, is you would get an error here, and the error is gonna tell you that you're not in, or that you're in real mode, and you need to be in the imaginary mode, okay? So Courtney, let's fix a couple things, okay? Go to mode, First, let's make sure a couple lines down that it says you're in normal mode. Okay, and then go all the way down to where it says real, and you want to be 1 over where it says A plus BI. So A plus BI. Okay? And now I want you to try to enter that back in.
The same way?
Yeah, let me look and see what you... It looks like you have an exponent there. Let's get rid of that exponent. And do you have an I or are you using X?
I'm using it.
Yeah, use I.
Okay.
Yeah, use I because it knows. So guys, I is not like a regular variable, okay? It's actually an imaginary number that equals, well, I squared equals -1, but I want to show you this. So I by itself is actually the square root of -1, okay? So I isn't like a typical variable where we would just substitute in X for it, okay? What'd you get this time?
I got 1/2 plus 1/2 I.
Okay, let's write that down. So 1/2 plus 1/2 I. That looks different than what we have, right? A little bit different. But they both have a 2 under, correct? So I can change this to 1 plus 1I divided by 2. And do you see that answer? So 1 plus 1I divided by 2. So the important things here, you guys, are you need to be in normal mode on your calculator, okay? And you also need to be in imaginary mode, which is A plus BI. Okay, if you're not in that, you're gonna get an error and it will actually say to you, real mode in capital letters, okay? So when you get those errors, make sure you're reading them so you know exactly what's going on, okay? Okay, are we ready to move on? Okay. All right, now we're gonna do question 10 and question 19. Okay, I'm gonna read question 10 to you. It says an aquarium in the shape of a rectangular box can hold 180 gallons of water when completely filled. Given that the width of the aquarium is 3 feet and the length is 7 feet, what is the minimum depth in feet of the aquarium? And then it also says, assume that 1 cubic foot of water is equal to 3 gallons of water. The first thing that I would do, you guys, is draw myself a rectangle, okay? So here's a rectangle. I also know that an aquarium is 3D, right? So I'm actually going to just draw another one. And you don't have to necessarily do this, but you can if you want. Okay. Okay, so there's my aquarium, right? Okay, so it says that my width is 3. Okay, my length is 7, and it wants to know what is the possible height, so we'll name that X. Okay, and then it told me that this aquarium holds 180 gallons. So we're gonna do volume equals length times width times height, and you need to know that formula, okay? That's something that you need to memorize. Length times width times height is the volume. So we've got 2 of the 3, and they told us the volume. So we're just gonna input the information into the formula. So volume was 180. My length was 7, my width was 3, and I don't know my height. So we'll make that X. Courtney, where can I solve this on my calculator?
Can you put it like in the regular calculator?
Numeric solver, right? Yeah. So math, arrow up, enter. So math, arrow up, enter. Okay, and remember guys, this is one box, this is the other box. Okay, and you have to hit graph, graph, slow to get your answer, or alpha, enter. What'd you get?
I had 8.57.
8 point, ooh, that doesn't look like what we have. Let me check your calculator.
Do you want to put this one at the top or the bottom?
No, it's good there.
Okay.
And then come down to the bottom. So you'll need 7 times 3 and then put an x. There you go. One more time. So 8.57. Let's check something. Let's go here to mode. You are in degree. Let's reset the calculator, okay? So let's go to second plus 712. And what I would say is that you calculated that correct, but you're getting an answer that's not even up here, right? So I would reset the calculator immediately if you're starting to see that, okay? Now, we do need to go back into mode, and let's change it to degrees. But the rest we can leave, like we can leave it in real mode and all of that. So let's go back to that numeric solver and let's try to solve it again and see what you get.
Still have the same thing.
Same thing, okay. Let's do this a different way then, okay? So in your regular calculator, so let's hit second mode to get out. So I know that 7 times 3 is 21, correct? Okay, so we're just gonna go up here, we'll go 21x equals 180. Okay, so do 180 divided by 21.
8.57.
Still 8.57, okay. So 8.57. Okay, so what are we doing wrong here? So an aquarium in the shape of a rectangular box can hold 180 gallons of water when completely filled. Given the width is 3 and the length is 7, what is the minimum depth in feet of the aquarium? Assume that 1 cubic foot of water is equal to 3 gallons of water. And you're getting 8.57. Let me grab another calculator really quick and figure out what's going on. Okay, I'm gonna try to switch the 180 to the bottom box and see if that makes a difference, but it shouldn't because you actually just did the math on your own. So I'm wondering if perhaps some of these answers are incorrect, but I actually solved them too. So let's look at my work. Okay, so we're gonna do 7 times 3x. All right, we're gonna come back to this one because I'm getting the exact same thing. So, and this is a volume question, you guys. So I got this from CERT. So let me work on this and see if perhaps those answers are incorrect. Because if you do the math, it is 8.57, okay? So like I said, this came from CERT and maybe there's an error in it. So I'll correct this video later on if for some reason we solved this incorrectly, okay? Let's go ahead and let's move on to number 19. We don't want to get stuck on a problem for too long, right? So that is an ACT strategy. Like if you try a problem and you think you've solved it right and the right answer is not there, reset your calculator to see if perhaps there's something going on with your calculator. The other thing you can do is just, I would flag the question, maybe like put a little tick mark or something by it, and then just come back to it again later and see if you can solve it then, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and let's move on to this next one. So this is a question. It says, given the chart below, it shows a relationship between rows and blocks. What is the total number of blocks in row in terms of n? Okay, so what you're gonna do for this problem is you're actually gonna use each of your answers, okay? So this is how I would do it. I would write each one across the top. Okay, so just keep writing them. Then I have 2n plus 2. And my last one is n squared minus 4. Okay, so we've got each of our answers written out, and what we're going to do is we're going to input where we see n the number 1, and we're going to see what our answer is, okay? So 2 times 1 minus 2. So 2 times 1 is 2, minus 2 is 0. Well, it tells me I'm looking for 4. That is not my answer, okay? Let's go on to the next one. So we do the same thing, just inputting a 1. Okay, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4, that's 6. We know it needs to be 4, so that is not our right answer, okay? Now we're gonna try this one. So this is 2 times 1 plus 2. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, so this one works. Let's double check and make sure that the last one doesn't work, okay? So 1 squared is 1 minus 4 is -3. So our correct answer is 2n plus 2. 2n plus 2. So you're going to use your answers. You're going to input the 1 here, looking to get that as your answer, the 4, okay? When you find the one that gives you that, that is your correct answer, okay? The only other way to do this would actually be for you to create the equation, but they've already given you your possibilities. So just use your possible equations and come back and then try to figure out which one you can input 1 and 2 to get the right answer, okay? Okay, I'm gonna sweep this. We're gonna do the 5th one, and then we'll come back to this one, okay? And I am moving a little quick just because we don't have as much time today to video. Okay, this right here is a problem that gives a lot of you issues. We need to practice this one so much. This cannot be solved in your calculator. This has to be done by hand, okay? So I'm gonna rewrite this problem, okay? So, and I'm not even gonna put the A, well I am, the A equals 1/3 B C squared minus D. Okay, so I need to solve this for C, which means I need to get C all by itself, okay? So you just have to go through each thing and we need to pick what can we move first. Well, first of all, the 1/3 is being multiplied to the B. The B is being multiplied to the C, that is squared. When we're talking PEMDAS, you're gonna undo the subtraction and stuff first. You go backwards. Normally it's, you do all your multiplication, right? Your parentheses and your exponents, then your multiplication, division, then your addition, subtraction. When you're going the other way, we're undoing it all, okay? So we need to move this -D to the other side first. So this is first. It's -D on this side. If I move it to the other side, what's it gonna be?
Positive.
Positive D. So you're gonna write A plus D equals 1/3 BC squared, okay? Now, at this point, I would actually tell you to look at your answers and mark off the ones that don't say A plus D, okay? A plus D, no. A plus D, yes. A plus D, no. A plus D, yes. So we've got this narrowed down to 50% of the possibilities, right? Just by moving one thing in the equation, you guys. So even if you couldn't figure out what else to move, you've at least knocked it down to 50%, okay? The next thing that has to be moved is going to be this, okay? This is gonna be second. That is being divided by 3 right now. So 1/3 means you're dividing this by 3. So what's the opposite of division?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So we're gonna multiply this side by 3, okay? You're really doing this side by 3 also, just so you can cancel. But we're gonna do this side by 3, okay? So I'm gonna rewrite it. So 3 times A plus D equals BC squared. Can you look at your last two answers? Does this get you to the answer that's correct? Between the two that are left over? It does, doesn't it? Actually, it's right here. Okay, you've got 3 times A plus D, which is what you have right here. So you don't even have to finish this out. I am gonna show you how to finish it out in case it's asking you, in case you don't find your answer that early. So the next step, B is being multiplied by C, okay? So this would be the next step. This is third, Okay, and it's being multiplied. So what's the opposite of multiplication?
Addition.
Division, right?
Division.
Yeah, division. So we'll divide both sides by b. Okay, we'll divide this by b so we can get rid of that. Okay, again, this is just confirming that my answer is still correct. Okay, and then I have one last step, but I'm going to rewrite this because this is a problem that I think most of us have, is we're not sure what to do at this point. Okay, so I have c squared, but I need c by itself. What's the opposite of squaring something? Look at your calculator.
Is it, there's a root sign? What is it called? A radical?
Like if you, the radical symbol, we're taking the square root, right? But if you look at your calculator button, on the x squared button, the blue symbol above it is your square root. So that's the opposite, okay? They're both on that same key. So to take the square root of this side, I would take the square root of this side. Okay, and now this definitely looks like my correct answer, right? And then this just ends up being c by itself. Okay? Okay, I want to go back to that problem now. I think we still have some time. So, do you have any questions about these though? Do you feel pretty good about them? I do want to tell you guys, one of the things that Courtney told me when she came in today was that when she was taking CERT, some of these problems came up and she was able to answer them because she saw them before. So that's my hope. The more you see this, the better you'll get at these things, okay? Okay, let's go back to this question that's kind of giving us fits. It shouldn't because it seems pretty easy. Okay. And I solved them all. And you know what I think I did? I think I just said numeric solver because to me that seemed like just where you would solve it, right? I don't even think I actually solved this one because it seems so easy. So let's just go back through again one more time, okay? So it says the rectangular box can hold 180 gallons of water when it's completely filled up. So that is the volume, okay? So I'm actually gonna write that. So 180 is my volume. Okay. It says, given that the width of the aquarium is 3 feet and its length is 7 feet, what is the minimum depth in feet of the aquarium? Okay, so let's do, that's 7 times 3 times x. Okay, and then it says, assume that 1 cubic foot of water is equal to 3 gallons of water. Okay, so go ahead and put this back in your calculator again and tell me what you got, Courtney.
8.57.
So x equals 8.57. Okay, let's try something, okay? Let's see if we can, use this 3 gallons right here, okay? Because if I'm looking at my answers, this is what we're getting from doing the actual math. But if I divide this 8.57 by 3, tell me what you get.
2.8.
2.86?
2.85.
2.85? Okay. So this is something to consider, okay? And obviously when I was working this out originally, I didn't consider this. When it gives you this in parentheses, you're gonna need to apply this 3 gallons. So you have to divide whatever answer it is that you get for x, you're gonna have to divide that by the 3 gallons, and then you can get your 2.86, okay? So this is definitely something that I would practice if I were you, because I would have had to go on from that question if I was taking the test, right? I would have to move on from it and then come back to it because it stumped me. Even though it seems like a pretty straightforward problem, we did need to use that additional information that they gave you. So if you're not getting the right answer, you've reset your calculator and you're still getting the right answer. We even tried it in the regular calculator and got the same answer, right? So we were doing the math right, but there was another step and it was sitting right here in the problem, okay? So we just need to be able to look at what we're given, not panic, not freak out, move on, do some problems, and then come back to it, okay? Okay, so we've gone through each of these 5 problems. So this last Thursday and Friday, I was at the ACT conference, and I really learned some promising information, you guys. So Cantrell and Waller, they're 2 ladies who have actually taken the ACT test a ton of times, and they really studied the data behind it. So as we wrap it up, guys, to move from level 1 to level 2, you just need to practice 15 problems and get good at them. I know you guys can do that. I know almost all of the juniors sitting out there. You guys are amazing students. You just need to believe in yourself and know that you can do this. I know you can do it. And I want you to think about something else. We only have 6 more of these videos together. That's it, 6 more. So for the next 6 videos, please just buy in and just keep working, keep practicing those problems. You will get better at them, okay? And if you need any help, let me know. I have no problem helping y'all, okay? All right, thanks for watching.